Hey everyone, the name's Erik Thor and I'm here to give you a first glimpse of a new theory. This new theory is that people can be divided into 4 different types. People in society are a little different from how you are as a person. How you are in a group changes depending on what society you are in. And in society there are 4 primary forms of capital, 4 forms of power that we are all arguing over, distributing and fighting over in different ways. All types are in the pursuit of different forms of power and capital, and you can use these and trade these along the different types as you see fit. So what I've come to learn is that the 4 forms of capital are, first of all, ideological capital. The second one is legal authoritative capital. The third capital is social capital. And the fourth capital is cultural capital. The first capital, ideological capital, is the primary capital of NFJ types and STP types. So ISTPs, ENFJs and INFJs and ESTPs alike fight and share how this capital should be distributed. You gain this capital when you are seen as somebody who has a new vision or a new idea or a new moral philosophy or ideology that you are seeking to promote. And when people come to listen to you and when they come to hold your vision in high regard, that's when you gain a lot of symbolical capital. So a person with high symbolical capital is like a priest or some kind of philosopher or some kind of high esteemed coach or some kind of writer or visionary in a different way. Someone with high ideological capital can also be, for example, an aristocrat. All these are representatives of people who have in some way come to be regarded as people who, when they talk, people listen. These people tend to be visionary leaders in many ways. They lead with some kind of moral philosophy or some kind of idea that they are seeking to propel into the world. And often this is triggered by the cognitive functions. Introverted intuition and extroverted sensing makes these types more hunter-like. And extroverted feeling and introverted thinking makes these types more optimistic, more interested in the future, more ready to think about and to formulate own logic and own theories about how the world works. So these visionaries are not just in politics, but they can also be scientific frontrunners or people who come from New Age or from some different kind of field of ideas. What I've come to notice with other types, for example, the ENTPs, the INTPs, the ISFJs and the ESFJs, is that they are the ones that tend to mediate in society. Mediating between different groups, they are, for example, representing different institutions, national institutions, political institutions, media, or, for example, scientific institutions. These types are the ones that try to mediate and follow and promote a certain conduct between different groups. Which group should be regarded the best? Which group comes above the others? Which group is most important and what is each group's different role? The goal here is not very competitive. It's not about challenging or proving or fighting between different institutions as much as it is at giving each culture a different role, a different expectation, a different duty to live by. So these types are overall trying to distribute power or gain power for their own because they want to be seen as people who are held in high social regard. They want to be seen as trustworthy, as people who are political leaders or as people who are trusted media persons or trusted representatives of their established institution. Am I a respected businessman, a respected academic, a respected thinker, or someone who is held in high social regard? That is the most important thing for these types. Thirdly, the INTJs, the ENTJs, the ISFPs and the ESFPs tend to have the most legal capital. Legal capital is like Status, it's very competitive. It's something you fight or compete over. Who is the one who is the most successful? Which company makes the most profit? Who has the most status in a group? Who has the most status at school? Who is the one who's seen as the most strong, athletic, or intelligent person? Who is the one who's seen as the most rich or well regarded? So these types tend to be somewhat more aggressively competitive and somewhat more interested and autonomous, interested in their own path. Finally, the fourth grouping is the cultural capital types. I call these types teachers because they are often about teaching and providing moral boundaries, moral standards, boundaries to live by. How should we dress? What should we wear? How should we act toward one another? What is right and wrong? What is the cultural practices in your city? What are the traditions in your city or society? What is your role or your duty in society? These types pride themselves on living by these roles and promoting and standing up for these roles and living up to people's different types of commitments. And ENFPs and ISTJs, they are all fighting over this. Who is the most culturally esteemed? Who is the most trustworthy? Who drives the culture the most? Who contributes the most to cultural growth and change? Who is the best at expressing and standing up for the values and the cultural practices in your city or culture? This is also very much driven by subculture and personal expression forms. So within these types there can be many different forms of cultures and subcultures, Scots and book readers and all kinds of different people. So culture can come in many forms. It can be athletic, it can be educational, it can be journalism, it can be some area where you are talking about cultural issues and norms and how we should all live. So using these four groupings, I can talk about how these types tend to manifest in society. What do these types usually do in society? And how are they usually regarded? Each type can become very important in these roles, but if you want to become someone who is held in high ideological regard, you can't as an INFJ just use introverted intuition, but you have to also use introverted thinking and extroverted sensing. So you have to be able to use all four of your cognitive functions to gain your primary form of capital. Your personal preferences don't matter in this theory. In this theory, the most important thing is who are you in society, what is your role in society, what is your kind of duty, what you live by, what do you pride yourself by. So my question to you is, which of these groupings do you tend to relate the most to, and how do you feel about these groupings? Because they are, as of the moment, primary placeholder groupings, and I'm very open to making a lot of changes in this theory as it has not been formalized yet. Thank you all for watching.